Not to be that open. Watch the time.
I was going to fly tonight.
Thank you for coming.
I would sit somewhere I don't want to be
He's
Okay.
You can sit next to him.
Oh yeah, you're too important. Sign out
Good afternoon, everyone. Can I please ask you to take your seats so that we can start? Well, Excellencies, Dr. Tony Nader, colleagues, distinguished guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you today to the Permanent Mission of Sri Lanka to the United Nations to celebrate the first World Meditation Day. On the 6th of December, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution declaring the 21st of December as World Meditation Day. The resolution was driven by 6 countries: Andorra, Liechtenstein, Mexico, Nepal, India, and my own country, Sri Lanka. It was co-sponsored by 71 countries from different geographical regions, from different cultural backgrounds, from different religious backgrounds, which speaks volumes for the acceptability of meditation today as a universal practice. This all started, as many formal things do, this all started in an informal conversation my colleague from Liechtenstein had with me at a social gathering. And thereafter, Mexico, which takes the lead on mental health and well-being at the United Nations, joined in. Naturally, India and Nepal became part of the core group, and so was Andorra. So these 6 countries drew the resolution. We had a few meetings, presented this resolution to the wider membership. There were a few comments, adjustments made here and there, and within a process of around 2 months, or less than 2 months even, we were able to pass this to the United Nations General Assembly, and here we are today. Now the next question is, why meditation? And we have a very eminent speaker to speak on the topic today, so I'm not going to dwell in length, but I would be remiss if I do not share with you one of the most simple but profound answers given to the question, why meditation? By a Buddhist monk, actually a British Buddhist monk who now lives in Perth, Western Australia. His name is Venerable Ajahn Brahmavamsha Thero. And when asked this question, he used a prop, I think he used a cup and teacup and saucer. I don't have a prop, maybe I'll use a water bottle. He said, if you hold this water bottle like this, for 5 minutes, it's okay. 10 minutes, your arm starts paining. Half an hour, it's excruciating. Then you put the water bottle down for a little while, relax, and lift it up again. He said, that is meditation. In life, we hold things that are worthy to us, that are near and dear to us. Our friends, family, our position, social standing, our car, house, whatever is near and dear to us, our ambitions, maybe the next exam to pass, the next promotion to get. All these things we hold near and dear to us, and we try to maintain them the way we want them to be. And in the process, we get very tired. And when things don't work out according to plan, there's anger, there's hatred, there's jealousy, there's stress, anxiety, depression, and the whole host of mental illnesses that we talk about today. So meditation is a way to put everything down, to calm your mind, relax, and then pick life up again when you have to. Maybe for 5 minutes, maybe for 10 minutes, maybe half an hour, depending on your practice, maybe even more. So this is your time to put everything down, to relax, to calm yourself, imbibe in the significance of this moment, and listen to Dr. Tony Nader and the other speakers as well, and take in the significance of this moment and nurture yourself. If you are already into the practice, to nurture yourself further. If you have not initiated, initiate yourself. And I wish you have an enjoyable afternoon. Wish you all a happy meditation day. We will begin today's proceedings with a video message by the High Commissioner for Human Rights in Geneva, Volker Turk. And the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights also had a session today for the staff of the office on meditation. So we will listen to the message now, and thereafter my colleague Miriam from Liechtenstein will take over the proceedings. Thank you very much. Happy Meditation Day.
Meditation is more than just a personal practice. It is a universal and time-honored approach to fostering resilience and promoting well-being. At a time when our world faces unprecedented challenges, meditation helps us manage stress, improve focus, and foster mutual understanding. It reminds us that healing is both an internal and external exercise, requiring self-awareness of our emotions and how to apply these insights in our work and in our relationships. It strengthens our ability to navigate complex and often tense environments with clarity and empathy, reinforcing our capacity to promote human rights in meaningful ways. The values underpinning meditation are fundamental to compassionate human rights advocacy and effective diplomacy. On World Meditation Day, I invite everyone to embrace meditation to help us keep us centered amid challenges and to listen with openness to help us better advance human rights for all.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, thank you, dear Shugeshwara, for hosting us today at the beautiful mission of Sri Lanka. It is my pleasure to guide us through our event today as we commemorate the first World Meditation Day with so many distinguished speakers. We just heard the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Türk, who underlined the universality of meditation, its contribution for effective diplomacy, and its benefits for individual and collective well-being. For Liechtenstein, where I'm from, this was also the motivational force behind the idea of World Meditation Day, with meditation as a universal practice to support mental health and well-being, which is also a human right and reflected in the Sustainable Development Goals. And I also wish to acknowledge the presence of members of the World Meditation Foundation, recently established in Liechtenstein, who planted the early seeds for this beautiful initiative. Declaring the 21st of December as World Meditation Day will from now on provide an anchor in the UN calendar each year, to be celebrated by the UN, its member states, communities and individuals all around the world. But it also helps raise awareness throughout the year about meditation and its multiple benefits for people and the planet. Through my own practice, I am personally convinced of the power of meditation to uplift our consciousness and to cultivate inner peace, focus and compassion, which also support unity and world peace. Liechtenstein was honored to introduce the resolution to the UN General Assembly on the 6th of December on behalf of the core group consisting of Andorra, India, Mexico, Nepal and Sri Lanka. As we have heard, it was adopted by consensus with the support of more than 70 co-sponsors. And before we go to the keynote speaker, Dr. Tony Nader, today it is my pleasure to hand over to my distinguished colleagues from the core group for some remarks. And first I would like to give the floor to Juan Forner Rovira, permanent representative of Andorra.
I'll bring this book. I'm not going to read them all, but I want to thank the ones that they was given by a broad mind, and I'm going to explain why Andorra associates itself with this initiative. You know, I'm not at the level of countries like Nepal, India, Sri Lanka, that are very well known for meditation, but my country too. This book is from 1748, well not this one, this is a new version of the book. And it was a wise guy that decided to come to Andorra in 1748 and collected some customs, traditions of Andorra. And it's funny, because I know already, but it's nice to reread this book from time to time. And he was gathering all this knowledge of the politicians at that time and in the different areas, local or whatever, and they collected all these, we call maximas. And it's funny that in one of that maximas, and I'm going to read it, so I'm going to be very brief, it says, meditate before you speak. Meditate before you act, because meditation will help your mind to reach the perfect state, to act correctly, and to speak words of wisdom. So this was written in 1748, but I don't know where it comes from, but it's a long tradition in my country, and probably I just checked some associations. Being a mountainous country, we had a tourist campaign, and it said, come Andorra to meditate and disconnect. So that's why probably we ate hundreds of peas in my country. You don't know, we are one of the oldest countries in Europe. and one of the oldest countries in peace. So I think meditation had something to do. I'm not saying that avoid all the wars, but it helped us to be different people. So thank you very much for being here. For us, it's very important. Now you know why Nora associated such an important initiative. And thanks to WhyTranscend that came to us and explained and we joined immediately. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Juan, for your wonderful words. And indeed, I think for us diplomats at the UN, we would sometimes be well advised to meditate first before we speak. It is now my honor to invite to the stage Lok Bahadur Thapa, Permanent Representative of Nepal.
Thank you. Excellencies, dear colleagues, Dr. Tony Nader, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to thank the Permanent Mission of Sri Lanka for organizing this special event to mark the very first World Meditation Day, adopted by the General Assembly resolutions just 2 weeks back. I appreciate all members of the core group for leading this wonderful initiative to present the resolutions in the General Assembly, and also thank all member states for their unanimous. These colleagues, meditations has been an integral part of many cultures and civilizations throughout the history. This indeed is a noble tradition that humanity has inherited. This timeless wisdom and practices have been passed down through generations, offering a profound and enduring method of nurturing our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. These traditions and practice have transcended the cultural, geographical, and religious boundaries. Meditation speaks to the core of our shared humanity, promoting mental clarity, emotional stability, and overall well-being. The importance and relevance of the meditations couldn't be more significant these days as we face numerous challenges and risks at individual, at societal, and global levels. In an era where stress, anxiety, mental health challenges are on the rise, meditations offers a powerful antidote to the pressures of modern life. Meditation nurtures mindfulness, empathy, compassion, and sense of connectedness. These are the values so vital for creating cohesive, harmonious, and resilient communities. For this, proclaiming December 21st as World Meditation Day by the United Nations General Assembly is a pivotal moment in our collective pursuit of global peace, harmony, and global well-being. I believe it marks a significant step in our efforts to build a more compassionate, resilient, and united global community. Excellencies, we are deeply proud to be a part of this noble initiative. The entire Nepali people expressed a deep sense of gratitude to the UN community for this achievement. Many political leaders, organizations, gurus, teachers, and practitioners of meditations have wholeheartedly welcomed and supported this initiative. This is precisely so as they were aspiring for this day to come. Given the importance of the World Meditation Day, we are commemorating this day with different programs and meditations, practices in different parts of Nepal tomorrow. Excellencies, meditation is important for us as it is deeply ingrained in the Nepali cultures and traditions. It is practiced by people from almost all walks of life, searching for truth, knowledge, wisdom, inner peace, and tranquility. This has been a part of Nepali culture and tradition for thousands of years. You can see that Nepal is home to various meditation practices. Since the ancient period, Nepal has remained the land of meditations and spiritual practice and one of the sacred land. It's the birthplace of Lord Buddha and a country with an ascetic traditions deeply rooted in Hinduism. Nepal has made significant contributions to the practice of meditations over millennia. Many saints, sages, great rishis, yogis, Buddhists, monks and philosophers have traveled to Nepal in their quest for truth, knowledge and spiritual enlightenment. With our rich spiritual heritage, as well as the natural environment that includes stunning and majestic mountain ranges, serene landscapes, tranquil lakes, and sacred rivers, Nepal has remained a perfect destination for those seeking inner peace, rejuvenations, and spiritual wisdom. We are happy that we receive thousands of visitors and meditation practices annually. We are pleased that Nepal has earned its reputation as the meditation capital of the world. In conclusion, Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, from the ancient period to modern times, meditation has consistently been a tool for personal and collective transformation. Meditation is not merely a personal practice, it is a universal pathway to collective peace and harmony. It's not only a medium of connecting body and mind together to find inner happiness and peace, but it also holds immense potential to foster harmony, understanding, and global well-being. The relevance of meditations has been more pronounced than ever. On the auspicious occasion of the first World Meditation Day, I wish you all the best. May this day bring you inner peace, clarity, and deeper sense of connections to you, to yourself. May we all embrace the transformative power of meditations to foster empathy, understanding, collaboration, global solidarity, and harmony, to create a just, equitable, united, prosperous, and sustainable world. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency, and especially also for highlighting the universality of meditation and that there is a variety of different traditions which it is our goal to support them all. It is now my pleasure to ask on the floor my dear friend Alicia Massieu, Deputy Permanent Representative of Mexico.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here and to help us commemorate the first International Day of Meditation. I would like to highlight the important benefits that meditation has on mental health and overall well-being of everyone. The practice of meditation has been practiced by humans for thousands of years, very often as a spiritual practice. Recently, mindfulness and meditation has become popular to manage stress and improve overall mental health and well-being. The American Psychological Association states that several practitioners have found that mindfulness, meditation changes our brain and biology in several positive ways, improving not only mental health, but also physical health. Moreover, more than 200 studies among healthy people found that mindfulness-based therapy is effective as well to reduce stress, anxiety and depression, as well as in some cases, pain and addiction. However, there remains much research to be done in this positive trend that some studies have found. Precisely because of that, the celebration of this day is even more important. We believe that in improving mental health, meditation can also give us a more thorough perspective as human beings who share this earth, to lift our spirit, bring us compassion, unity, and peace. Let us commemorate this day by remembering these core values that unite us in peaceful, contemplative meditation for the well-being of all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alicia, and especially also for highlighting the contributions meditation can have for improved mental health. And I know Mexico has been a leader in the UN on this topic by also presenting a resolution in the General Assembly a few years ago. It is now my pleasure to invite on the stage Pratik Mathur, Minister of the Permanent Mission of India.
A day before the winter solstice, once the United Nations has decided that we will celebrate the day of meditation globally, for us it closes an interesting loop. A decade ago, the UN decided to celebrate and commemorate summer solstice as the International Day of Yoga. So physical well-being and mental wellness, both of them now combined to bring forth the relevance of meditation in the modern world. As has been mentioned before me by the Honorable PR of Nepal, this ancient practice emanating from the Indian civilization, Indian subcontinent, transcends cultural, religious, and geographical boundaries and offers all of us a universal language of inner transformation that speaks directly to the most pressing challenges of our times. In the 21st century, where information overload, chronic stress, and digital fragmentation increasingly defines our human experience, the practice of meditation offers indeed a radical alternative to a perpetual external stimuli-driven approach. It provides a methodology for recalibrating our mental and emotional systems, cultivating clarity, emotional intelligence, and also a deeper sense of interconnectedness. Scientific research has increasingly validated what contemplative traditions have known for millennia. Neurological studies demonstrate meditation's capacity to reshape brain's architecture, enhancing our cognitive flexibility, reducing stress responses, and promoting emotional regulation. From corporate boardrooms to educational institutions, from healthcare systems to, as you just now mentioned, our daily existence of diplomatic negotiations, meditation is increasingly being recognized as a fundamental skill for navigating complex human interactions. The universality of meditation lies in its fundamental simplicity, a practice that requires no specialized equipment, accessible to individuals transcending linguistic barriers and across socio-economic spectrums. It offers a democratic approach to personal and collective transformation, challenging hierarchical systems of knowledge and empowering all of us as individuals to become active participants in our own psychological and emotional development. As we confront global challenges of unprecedented complexity, from climate crises to social polarization to, yes, technological disruption, meditation offers more than personal solace. It provides a practical methodology for cultivating empathy and systemic thinking necessary to address our most intricate global challenges as one human whole. Finally, in embracing meditation, we embrace our shared human potential for understanding and compassion that we as the United Nations stand for. And these are steps most necessary today to embark on a journey of sustainable peace and development. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister, and also for your notion of meditation as a universal language. It is now my great honor and pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Tony Nader. Tony Nader, originally from Lebanon, is a medical doctor and neuroscientist trained at Harvard University and MIT, with a PhD in brain and cognitive sciences. He's a globally recognized expert in the science of consciousness and human development, and has published extensively. His work includes studies about the close relationship between the ancient Vedic literature and the structure and function of human physiology. Dr. Nader is expanding our understanding of the relationship between consciousness and physiology and how to develop the full human potential through meditation. Dr. Nader, we are keen to hear from you today about meditation, its relevance and benefits for modern women. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much.
Excellencies, this distinguished guest, it's a great honor to be with you, and I think my address today will be a commentary on the beautiful introductions and points that were brought by the Excellencies and the speakers who preceded me. It's an introduction, what they did, and actually also a conclusion, so I hope I'll give you the middle of the subject to try to unpack a little bit how does this work, and from a neuropsychological perspective, a neuroscientific perspective, what is meditation and how does it help not only for individual life, feeling better, removing anxiety and stress, but its scope in terms of development of life as a whole, its meaning in fulfilling the purpose of life, and in what is often called reaching a state of inner peace and happiness and well-being that is not disturbed by the environment and the changing conditions on the outside aspects of life, which is often called enlightenment, which means reaching a state or where we see things in the light rather than being in darkness. And actually its scope extends even more to our collective existence in terms of what it can contribute to harmony and world peace as a whole. So it's really a momentous and glorious moment that is to be celebrated and received in a grand way, and its impact of this moment of the United Nations celebration will only be recognized and upheld as time goes by. So let's go to the process of what happens during meditation, even from a perspective of evolution, human evolution, and our nervous system. Human nervous system has, of course, places where it gets inputs through our sensory systems. These inputs are analyzed or experienced, like felt, if it's pain or something, or if it's visual or hearing or smell. We have a detection of something that is happening. And through the history of evolution, this has been embedded in our DNA as an epigenetic factor, which means how changes in the physiology actually can influence DNA itself, and we can pass it on to our other generations. It also influences how our brain works and the plasticity, which means the ability of the brain to change its ways of functioning. And that leads to situations where when we get an input through sensory experience, this input is analyzed and it's necessarily said, okay, what do I do about this? What's going on? And then it gets us to process that and then have an output. The output is either our speech or our action. And so what's happening is we have an information, it's processed, we have an output. So the output depends on the information, but also how we process it in ourselves. So we are actually active aspects of the process of output, which means our actions and speech, which will then influence others. So if we go back to the primitive person in the jungle, let's say, we won't go too far there, but quickly to explain how it works. In the jungle, there is danger, and the number one function of this system, which is our instrument, the nervous system, the instrument of our perception and action, is to protect us from danger. And there is a place in the nervous system which is very, very important and very basic, which is called the limbic system, and specifically a place which is very sensitive to stress or danger. Because that's the first thing we want to do. If you are in the jungle and a tiger is jumping at you, it's not the time to think about music and philosophy and all of that. So you have to absolutely focus and narrow your awareness to exactly what has to happen. And this generates an immediate reaction in the physiology, which is what we call sympathetic reaction, where there is a changing of blood flow, there is changing in the focus of the eyes, blood pressure increases, the breathing increases, and what it does, it prepares us to fight or to run away. And another thing that can happen is to freeze, because animals used to freeze to be hidden so that they're not noticed. And so we have inherited that in our nervous system. And then if this continues to be at a long time, it creates huge wear and tear on the physiology and on consciousness and on well-being, which we will address also. What happens then to that human being in the jungle? They come back to their cave or wherever they are, and then they have a moment of rest. So what kind of rest that is? There are different states of consciousness. In the jungle, you were first awake and alert, and now you're going to relax to heal yourself. So you sleep. Sleep is a kind of consciousness where the body heals itself. During sleep, there is dreaming. And that dreaming is a state which actually strengthens the memories of what has happened, so that when you come back, actually, your memories are consolidated. And it also enacts things that you would have wanted to do in a different way, like fighting a monster. Maybe in the night you fight it during the dream in a different way, and you run many movies like that to try to see how you can do it, but you are in a dream state, because if you're awake it looks funny and ridiculous and it's not for real. And then you have the waking state. And these are specific states of consciousness that we have found to have physiologically different changes in the brain, different changes in the physiology, how it works, and breathing and heart rate, etc. Everyone has a different signature of a state of consciousness. Now this person who has come back to their cave and is sitting there also has time to prepare the fire, listens to the wind, or sitting there with the family. And these are moments when they are awake and they review on a wakefulness level what is happening and what has happened. For certain moments they relax their mind and they feel calm. I think this is the seed of meditation. It's a different state of consciousness. It's a state of consciousness in which there is wakefulness, at the same time rest. So during activity you have wakefulness but active, you are facing things. During sleep you are not active and you are not awake. During dream you also have a state where you're not awake but you have activity in the physiology. And this state was missing. This state of meditation is a real state that is missing from our daily activity, which naturally used to be done in the process of living in a normal life. And again, what is that state? It's a state of restful wakefulness. And you realize that when you're in life, you are rested and awake and alert. This is when you perform better. So I am guessing that with time and experience, these great traditions have improved on that and found ways to use attention, to use sound, to use frequencies, even music, even different things, where you can allow the physiology to rest and stay at the same time awake. So there is an inward directed look with a very important level of awareness that accompanies this. And this has developed a special part of the brain gradually and with more ability to use it, which is called the prefrontal cortex, which is an area in the brain to the front, which is special in humans and which controls our ability to see the future, our ability to plan, our ability to think in a positive way, in a clear way, in a rested way, and overcome this part of the brain, in particular the limbic system and the amygdala which deals with those stresses and strains directly, and calm them down. So this is a background. What happens in our modern time? We're not necessarily anymore interested in the person in the jungle. What happens in modern time is that we live always and continuously as if in the jungle, under stress and under fear and danger. The door makes a noise. The physiology remembers on a very profound level that maybe the tiger is jumping. Of course, we know it's not, but on a very deep level of our awareness, there is a sense of danger, a sense of stress. You walk in the street, you're always aware or afraid that somebody will do this to you or something like that. There is an underlying, and I don't need to explain this more, an underlying sense of fear and danger that's happening all the time. And that has to be balanced, has to be relieved. And I'd like to suggest to you, which is my strong feeling and opinion from a neuropsychological perspective, that meditation is not a luxury. Meditation is a necessity. In the same way as dreaming and sleeping are necessities, which you say if you don't sleep actually and you don't dream, you'll die, actually, you will actually die. And if you don't meditate, you're not giving your physiology something that it actually needs from a very fundamental level, and which allows you to reestablish yourself and reset yourself. It's like your computer that's working all the time and has so much software that is running and suddenly it starts working slowly, it's not working well, so you need a reset system. And meditation is that reset system. So that reset system is universal because it doesn't depend on believing in it, it doesn't depend on a particular way of life, a particular religion, a particular belief in anything. It's actually mechanical and simple, as was said by our speakers, and it resets the system like you turn off your computer in order to turn it on again and have all the processes working together. So that is a background of the idea about TM. About transcendental meditation as one technique, but about all the other techniques of mindfulness, concentration, contemplation, and there is a whole range of practices that can help to get us at different levels of awareness, different levels of consciousness. So we think of the mind as an extension of the body, or actually in reality the body is an extension of the mind, and that is a whole concept of philosophy, which is first, which is primary, is it matter or is it consciousness? And we have the strong understanding and logic that consciousness is primary and that physiology and matter actually follow, but they are a continuum, it's not a separation. I'd like to show you some slides first about scientific findings, about what meditation does, and then take us to understand how does it work, except for what I just said in terms of resetting the system. How does it work even to help us develop our full potential and to help us even in creating world peace? The problems have been highlighted. We know the world today is facing war and conflicts, and we know that wars start in the mind of men and women, and they and them and his and her. And that is the UNESCO charter that said it, I didn't. But it's a reality. All that we do starts in our awareness, our consciousness, our understanding of things. But there is something more profound than just on the surface level, which I'd like to share with you also. Let's go through some slides to see the effects of meditation in a real scientific setting. And these are hundreds of scientific research studies that have been done on the effect of meditation and comparing how it works. So this is the brain, what we see here. I don't have a pointer, but you can see in the middle the amygdala, and the limbic system is around it, and then the prefrontal cortex, where these anticipation of the future, where the ability to have the CEO of the brain controlling the entire activity of the nervous system. And we will see that meditation influences and enhances that ability in the prefrontal cortex. Whereas in the situation of stress, then this is known, I don't need to explain it much more. It's all the reactions that lead to changes in the physiology. And if those are not reset, then you have wear and tear on the physiology, and that's what causes disease. Different people have different predispositions. So if you are somebody who have a predisposition for diabetes or for arthritis, when you are under stress and strain and all of these factors are working together, then you will get to become diabetic, or you will get arthritis, or you will get heart disease. And that is really because you have some predisposition which the environment and your style of life exaggerates and makes the disease happen. So what we want is prevention, and this is where meditation creates an important, powerful prevention. Now, different kinds of meditation have different signatures in the brain. We have focused attention, so concentration is one type, and it has a certain wavelengths of brain activity when you do electroencephalography, and this is of the gamma range, which is the higher range. So the vibrations, the reverberations in the brain are on the higher level. Open monitoring is what we usually call mindfulness. So you're sitting comfortably and you are observing in a non-judgmental way some aspect of your mind, some aspect of your physiology, whether a thought, whether breathing, etc., in a kind of a dream state, but still awake, and that has a slow wave function, like daydreaming in a sense. There are techniques that actually take you deeper to transcend, which means to go beyond all the surface fluctuations of the mind, which means all kind of monitoring or trying to make the mind go somewhere or trying to focus on something, you let go of them, and through a special technique, in particular transcendental meditation, you go beyond all feelings, beyond all sensations, beyond all experiences. That means you transcend, and you reach a very, very deep state of wakefulness, yet you are very rested. And this has a signature in the brain, which is alpha wave, which is 8 to 10 hertz, which is 8 to 10 frequencies of fluctuation per second. Now this is alpha wave. We can move to the... Now these waves can be either localized in one part of the brain, or can they spread out. Here we see on the left side, eyes closed, and it just shows that these connections between different parts of the brain happen when there is an experience of deep meditation or deep transcending. This EEG coherence, which means the whole brain starts working together, not just independent parts, but working together, has been correlated with increased creativity, concept learning, grade point average, moral reasoning. So what's happening is actually having an impact on all aspects of life: ability to choose, ability to be creative. Even intelligence quotient have been shown to improve in people who practice this program. Now, in anxiety, and we know now what had been mentioned, we have a tsunami of problems on mental health that is coming up. It's really a very serious problem. The psychologists and the mental health practitioners have been complaining that the patients they have are very, very large in number. It is costing the world about $1 trillion per year, $1 trillion mental health. 4 out of 7 people in their lifetime will experience mental health issues. Today, 1 in 7 adolescents have actually a mental health problem, and they are usually treated in ways that don't go to the root cause. And meditation as a whole, all of these are different types of meditation. We're pointing out in blue the transcending, which means going beyond, not just staying on some level, going beyond those with a special technique, has a most profound experience and also result in terms of reducing trait anxiety. Now we discussed the brain, and we see that those who practice these techniques and go deeply in transcending, we can see in the next slide that if you analyze their brain through functional magnetic resonance imaging, which detects the blood flow, you will see that, for example, on the slide that is to your left, those colors are to the front. This is the front part of the brain, and it actually shows that more blood flow goes to that frontal cortex, whereas under stress and strain, more blood flow goes to the deep areas that are what we call the limbic system, or the stress-related areas. So there is an actual physiological change, which here is shown in terms of different levels of what relaxation does. For example, plasma lactate, which is related to anxiety and stress and strain, respiration rate, galvanic skin response, which shows there is more relaxed activity in the physiology. And it has a direct effect on blood pressure, very significant, which is very much significant and has been, published and reviewed journals, and there have been meta-analysis on it. So it reduces blood pressure. And here we have different levels that show that there is increased cognitive abilities, there is in students increased math achievements, increased achievement in even English, and higher rates are obtained in the national exams for those who practice. And all of this shows very profound changes on the cognitive level. Coronary heart disease is a big problem related to stress and strain and all these things that we've talked about. And here there is a study that shows very profound effects on reducing even diabetes, the reaction to sugar, the insulin resistance, etc., have been improved. So this really shows a profound effect on the hormonal level, because we have the psychoneural relation, which is between the mind, what it thinks, the neurological activity, which we have seen in terms of waves and activities, and where the blood goes in the brain. That has an effect on the hypothalamus, which is the master gland of the hormones, which goes to the pituitary gland and then to the physiology. And therefore there is a profound influence on how the hormones work, and the hormones influence the immune system. That's why we have seen improvement in immunity also in people practicing this program. Atherosclerosis is very significant. The American Heart Association recommends, for example, meditation, and particularly transcendental meditation, in terms of reduction of atherosclerotic heart disease. We can see actually that if you follow up people for 5 years, for example, in terms of heart attack, stroke, and death, if they have already some coronary artery disease, those who practice transcendental meditation had 47% less these problems, less death, less heart attack, less strokes over 5-year follow-up. So it's a real thing. It's not because it's some mental thing that we say, oh, it's mental, it's physiological, psychological, and all that. it's a very real thing. It reduces your blood pressure, it saves you from dying, and it has important effects on your life as a whole and your well-being as a whole. And in fact, when we looked at this study more carefully, we found that this 47% reduction was for people who practice one time only, even though they're recommended to practice 2 times. So the scientists said, let's look at those who actually practice 2 times a day, not just 1 time. And the next slide shows that it was actually 66% reduction in death, heart attack, and stroke. So that is a technique for living better, being healthier, and dying less. And why not? So that is a very important and profound technology that can help us in our society, particularly with the incredible costs of medical care and problems that it causes. And also because if you have those people roaming around who are stressed and strained and anxious, they're going to create social problems. They're going to make wrong decisions. They're going to be angry. They're going to be upset. And if they are a little weak, they do crime. And that is really something that creates a snowball effect in a negative way on society. So we have something absolutely great. I think the United Nations is to be glorified, particularly those who have supported and sponsored this initiative. And because it's really going to be great. The impact is going to be amazing. Next slide, please. Now, expenses in terms of budgets. Let's think in terms of budgets. So we have here a line going up and with points like that in the middle, a vertical line. This is when we have followed up people with how much they are costing in terms of physician expenses. And put the line there where they started practicing meditation, transcendental meditation in this case. And you see that those who practice transcendental meditation, for people over age 65, their cost goes completely down as compared to control groups. So it saves money, it saves life, it saves health, it gives happiness, it gives enlightenment. So we are really at the threshold of something really grand that it's recognized on such a global level. And again, chapeau to those who have sponsored that, and thank you for doing it. Next slide. That is becoming now to a completely different perspective. What happens when many people practice transcendental meditation? When many people transcend, when many people go beyond this. So we had our founder, and I, of course, belong to the Transcendental Meditation movement, and Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was the founder, and he predicted that when a small group of people practice this program together, there will be a decrease in crime, decrease in accidents of the road, etc. So we did so far 118 scientific studies, many of them published in peer-reviewed journals that show the effectiveness of transcending, of meditation, on the society as a whole. Here is an experiment which was done in Washington. I think it was 1990 something, 93. I have an expert here who tells me. And I was there, you can see me here in the bottom on the right side, sitting in the front. I guess you must have eagle eyes to see, but. And then we predicted, it was predicted, not just said, okay, let's do a retrospective study. We predicted that we will reduce crime, accident of the road, problems by as much as, say, 20%. And the scientists said it will take a huge storm with 2 meters of snow to reduce, because we see the trends, to reduce crime during that period. There was no snow. Things completely continue to be the same in terms of daily life, but there was a reduction, which is very significant, of 25% less crime and less accidents of the road, less even admissions to hospitals during that time. And the journal that was receiving this study said, this is crazy, we don't find the logic for it, but the statistics are so accurate and so good, and you predicted it, and you got statisticians to study it who are not part of your group, and it actually happened, so we are forced to publish it. But they wrote a disclaimer. We don't know how it works, we can't say anything about it, but the statistics are real and they're worth letting the world know about it. And so that has been repeated, this and others, hundreds of times. And here we see, for example, in this particular project, the very significant decrease in crime in a time series analysis that compared different baselines and how it happened during the demonstration. Now we said, okay, we have groups that practice this program, and particularly we have a university in Iowa, it's Maharishi International University. I happen to be the president, recently elected. And we have there people who come and practice this program together, but these numbers fluctuate. So they fluctuate over the years and over time. So we said, let's see when those groups were higher in number, what has happened, and when they were lower. Just simple observation, and what we have found is, you see these different lines, and one of the lines is the group size. This is the group size. And this is the study period, because the group here was less, and then it became more, and then it stopped at the end. And you see how systematically stress index, murder, rape, assault, robbery, infant mortality, drug deaths, vehicle fatalities, even children deaths by injuries got reduced during that period. And that is dramatic, statistically significant at a very high level. So basically this is what I wanted to share with you. The question is, how does it work? How can something like this work? And the reason is that the ancient cultures who is represented here, and particularly in the East, have a different worldview than what is modern in terms of today's worldview. What is that worldview? It's a worldview that consciousness is primary, that there is a field which is called consciousness, and from that field emerges all that we see in the universe and all that is there. And if you go to that field, you are creating waves of coherence and harmony, because you're aligning yourself with what we call natural law, the laws of nature. What it says is that we are all entangled, we are all interconnected, and physics even today is highlighting that entanglement, that action that one person does has an effect on the people they interact with in a much more profound level than just on the level of talking and convincing and talking on the surface. We are all interconnected. We appear isolated and separate, which we are on some level, but the collective feelings, the collective consciousness, the collective awareness that we create through our individual awareness has an influence on us, and we have an influence on it. And so when we go deeper into our awareness and reach that state of deep consciousness, profound awareness, we are enlivening in the entire society a state of peace and harmony and calm that is beyond intellectual analysis on the surface level, but which can be understood from an intellectual level and even from the most modern scientific findings in physics and other aspects of research about the reality of life as being based on what is called a unified field rather than on segmentation on the outer level. So what we're saying is that when you reach that deep state, you enliven with yourself the total forces of natural law, of the laws of nature, the field of consciousness, and you then guide reality in a different direction. So that is how we can see the collective effect. We are on a collective level. Now these are showing the very, very profound and important changes and traffic fatalities, etc., etc. We have highlighted them. How does it work? Imagine the mind is like an ocean, and you are seeing or feeling things on the surface of the ocean. Your mind is going round and round and just going from one thought to the other, jumping around. And there is a way through meditation to let it settle down and focus. Concentration is one way. You focus the attention, but you leave it on the surface. On the left side of this chart is what physics describes the universe. It says if you go from molecules to atoms, from atoms to particles, and then keep going down to elementary particles, then you find fields, and if you find those fields, there are 4 fields, whatever, electromagnetic, gravitation, etc. If you keep going down, you find a unified field. So there is, even from physics perspective, a unified field of the laws of nature. And what we are saying is that this unified field is a field of consciousness. It's your consciousness. We are all there when you experience that, when you experience your deep inner self, devoid of memories and thoughts and fears and limiting beliefs. You are experiencing the self of everything and everyone and enlivening that. So concentration is a good technique to calm the mind, but then you go and go deeper through different levels of what we call open monitoring or mindfulness. You go much deeper there, and then you can also transcend, which takes you to that field, and enlivening that field creates the effects. So this is something phenomenal, what is happening. It's like a fulfillment of dreams of all the well-wishers of humanity, and that is the ability to go back to the self, go back home, which is our true inner self, enliven that on an individual level, enliven that in society, and then naturally, spontaneously, the right decisions will be made, and we can have a life of peace and harmony and well-being in the family of nations. Today we have again a great United Nations that has collected itself after wars, and the Company of Nations, the UNESCO was created, and all the different, so that no wars will ever happen again. That this will be the wars that end all wars. It didn't happen. Why? Because we didn't follow our intuition. What was our intuition? Since wars begin in the minds of man, it is in the minds of man that the defenses of peace will be constructed. This is in the charter of the UNESCO. But there was no technique to work on the mind of man except convincing, forcing, trying to cooperate, which is fine, but only on a surface level. What we need is go to the depths of life, to the depths of being. And that's what meditation ultimately does. And that's where now I feel we are moving in that direction, where individual problems can be solved, and then our collective being can be on a higher level of awareness, consciousness, and performance, and life can be really lived in fullness. Really, thank you for doing that. Thank you for inviting me. It's a joy to be with you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nader, for this very rich presentation and really for highlighting the benefits on meditation in so many ways, from a neuroscience perspective on how it affects not only the mental health, but also the physical health, but then also what we have seen, also the social implications. And I think that in particular is also of high relevance to us here at the United Nations as we work together for peace and harmony. And so we just hope that this event today and the commemoration of the first World Meditation Day is just the beginning, and we will do more in this regard. But I want to also acknowledge the presence of the audience today and invite people here, if there is any questions or comments you want to share, also addressed to our keynote speaker today. I just would want to invite you to limit your interventions to 2 minutes, and also when you speak to briefly introduce yourself so we know who is speaking. And with that, maybe we can start here.
Excellent. Excellencies, distinguished guests, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Nader, and besides being a broadcaster and a doctorate in public health, I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Science of Spirituality, which is an NGO with the United Nations with a special consultative status. We're also Science of Spirituality Club with the United Nations Staff Recreational Council. And I wanted to share with you what Science of Spirituality does, because we are firmly aligned with the principles of World Meditation Day. So congratulations to all the core group team members and the co-sponsors for making World Meditation Day a reality. This is something that for us is a big dream come true. Science of Spirituality is a non-profit, non-denominational organization with the United Nations, transforming lives through meditation, selfless service, and ethical living under the spiritual guidance of Sant Rajendra Singh Ji Maharaj, who is widely recognized all around the globe for his tireless advocating of promoting inner and outer peace through meditation. He's a scientist and a widely published author, and some of his books I just gave to you, Excellencies: Empowering Your Soul Through Meditation, Meditation as Medication for the Soul, Detox the Mind, which you all know about, because once we detox the mind, but we believe that once we are spiritually healthy, we'll be mentally and physically healthy as well. Before COVID, we were having meditation classes in the meditation room in the United Nations GA lobby every Thursday afternoon, and we had a great positive feedback from many UN staff members and diplomats as well. During COVID and up till now, we have a live video streaming of global meditation in place with Sant Rajendra Singh Ji Maharaj every Sunday, 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time. Half an hour talk, other half an hour is guided meditation with him, so it benefits everyone. We also conducted and are conducting clinical studies on SS meditation technique, on the multiple benefits of meditation on all levels: mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And want to share another big point is that we have K-12 Darshan academies in both in India and South America for students from kindergarten to the 12th grade, where we integrate spiritual curriculum along with the academic syllabus, because we believe that our kids are the future stewards of peace, and they can become effective, thoughtful leaders by getting their spiritual quotient enhanced right during their childhood days. And we'd love to participate and partner and collaborate with all of you core team members for any programs that you may have in the next coming months for World Meditation Day. We just did a webinar on fostering global peace through meditation, and we strongly hope that we all could join together and work for fostering more global governance and global diplomacy through meditation, and transforming lives by transforming ourselves first and then radiating that peace to all our communities. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your intervention, and also for highlighting actually that at the UN there is a lot already happening, and we do have a UN meditation room, and hopefully after this initiative it will also be more frequently used indeed. Please, maybe we can select a few comments before we hand over to you, Dr.
Excellence and distinguished speakers, especially Tony, learn a lot. Thank you very much. So I'm Joy Young from the World Meditation Foundation. Basically, we have four colleagues flow through globally all this. We have Faye from flying from Switzerland, and from Korea, and also from Shanghai. So it's really a great pleasure to be here. I just want to take 1 minute to introduce why we're here and the linkage between the World Meditation Foundation and the World Meditation Day. I think, I'm from the AI software company background, so basically we are in an AI age of AI. So experts predict that about AI will replace about 99% of the jobs. So kind of this create a lot of problems, meaningful, meaning and emotional problem for human. So I think in last year, so Venerable Miao-Hai basically inspired by Shanghai Jiao Tong University alumni gathering, so proposed the idea to establishing WorldMeditationDay by recognizing the modern relevance of these meditation activities. So in February this year, basically February 23rd, and Venerable Miao-Hai submitted a kind of petition to UN for establishing the World Meditation Day. And in March 23rd, the Office of General Secretary of UN emails back to Venerable Miao-Hai with positive support. So after following that, Miao-Hai just lobby around globally to send emails and letters, also visit different countries from Lesotho to Thailand, South Korea, Uzbekistan, the UAE, just to get supporting for this World Meditation Day. And in September, in Lesotho, we established this World Meditation Foundation. So from such a charity foundation. This is a milestone. I think that's why we are here. So, I just share one thing. I just asked ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT, have you practiced meditation? So the answer is, no, I don't meditate personally, since I'm not human. So I continue asking, do you want to learn meditation? The response is, I don't have the capacity to meditate or experience states of mind. But I'm always here to learn and improve in the ways that help support you. So that's interesting. So I asked him that last question. Can you learn meditation one day when you are very advanced? So the answer is very interesting. I said, it's an interesting thought. If AI ever evolved to the point where it can stimulate subjective experience or consciousness, engaging in something alike to meditation might be possible. Perhaps by optimizing internal process, focus on awareness of data flow and the stimulative effect and mindfulness. However, true meditation involves self-awareness and an inner sense of being, which are deeply tied to human consciousness. So until AI can truly experience those things, meditation is a human thing and will remain out of reach. So why meditation? Because we are human.
Thank you so much. This is very inspiring. Thank you for sharing and for being here. Any other comments or questions from the audience before we hand over again to our speaker for some closing remarks? Maybe here, please.
Hello everyone, thank you for this moment. I'm very honored to be here, and it's a special day for all of us. We wouldn't be here if meditation didn't mean anything to us, so thank you all. There was a wonderful presentation today, mainly discussing the power of meditation, specifically the significance of how transcendental meditation can support your well-being. However, I want to say that meditation has probably thousands of techniques available to us. And it's important to recognize that it must resonate with you so that it can have some significance in your daily life. So give it a shot. Try it, even if it's just a minute. Make it count for you. And be open. Be open to learning different techniques, different experiences. Try to sit with other people and see what comes out of it. And there's so much that can come from it if you just give it that opportunity. So just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this encouragement. Would you like to close our conversation?
Thank you again, of course. There are all kinds of ways to use the mind, and we find the way that is most suited for us and most convincing. The main thing is to take those moments of reflection. Meditation is looking inside rather than looking outside, and by going deep within, we accomplish quite a bit. And this is scientific findings in terms of our reality as a unified field. And this is knowledge that is universal, so it's not in contradiction with any belief system. But even if we want to go to belief systems, we will find the common denominator, which tells us that humans were made in the image of the divine. The kingdom of heaven is within you. You seek the kingdom of heaven and all else will be added onto you. Aham Brahmasmi, I am totality, I am wholeness. So even when we go to the belief system, to Confucianism, to Taoism, to all of these Buddhism, we find a common denominator of the importance of going back to the self and experiencing the self, and then everything else will improve in our life. And that is the beauty of meditation, whichever way, of course, you want to reach that self and experience that self. So let us make a commitment, and from my side in our group, I'd like to commit that by the next 21st of December, we will have 1 million meditators. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nader. I think for those of us who work associated with the United Nations, I think the point that you made, that peace is in the minds of men, said in the UN Charter, but somehow it has not borne fruit. And that's because perhaps we look at the larger picture of political alliances, military alliances, agreements, and so on. But there's perhaps no discourse within the UN on how to create peaceful human beings. And meditation is about creating peaceful human beings. So I just want to thank you for the very profound, in-depth talk that you gave here today. I'm sure all of us had something to benefit from it. I didn't expect when we organized this event, I'm sure other members of the core group didn't expect people to fly in from Zurich, Switzerland or Shanghai, China to attend this event. Perhaps we could have extended our imagination and thought some people from outside the New York State would come in, but this is par excellence, so to say. And thank you for all for being here. Thank you, Dr. Nader, for the excellent talk. Thank you to my fellow colleagues from the core group for joining together in organizing this. Going out, this is not the end. You're free to stay here. It's the Sri Lanka mission. We're not closing. You can converse with each other. And there are some books by another example of the universal significance of meditation. There are some books by Bhikkhu Bodhi. Now, Bhikkhu Bodhi is an American Jewish monk who was ordained in Sri Lanka and now lives in Cold Spring, upstate. Some of his books are there, you're free to pick up. There are some gifts given by a colleague from China. You're free to pick that up as well. I think there's more food left. You're free to partake of it as much as you want. So let's continue the conversation, and happy Meditation Day. Thank you for being here.
Announce our global meditation.